I don't know. I don't know who's more dangerous, if it's the black Republicans or if it's the black Democrats, those extreme ones. I don't know who is more dangerous. They are both very destructive. Greetings, greetings, and welcome to Caribbean Vanguard. Welcome to Caribbean Vanguard. I tried to make a live video today, but ran into some issues. So I'm creating this video now. Um, this video is about a movie called You People. I don't want to spoil it for you. So if you plan to watch the movie and don't want it to be spoiled, I suggest not watching this, because I'm going to share some images, and I'm going to talk about this movie a bit. There's comedy involved. There is a lot of liberalism being pushed, and there is also there's some borderline disrespect as well. You know, last week I did a video on defective behavior, and I talked about a Caribbean British politician who was partaking in some defective behavior, maybe without knowing. I'm pretty sure he think he's doing the right thing, but sometimes these people don't realize that they're making it harder on everyone else. So such is the case with this video. I don't know if the writer or some of the cast know that they are not helping, but they're making things worse. So this is my attempt, not necessarily to get a message to them, but message to whoever hear the message, right? Even if it's one person, right? That's this type of stuff is defective behavior, and we should not turn everything into joke. We should not be selling everything. There are some things that should be personal. There's some things that should be private. There's some things that should be treated with respect, and everyone cannot get their hands in it. Okay, I've said that about some of the music in the Caribbean, some of the practices that was done by the slaves to send message and stuff like that should have remained private. However, we sell our stuff. We sell everything. Okay, we sell everything. Some of us even sell each other. The love of money. It's crazy. But in this time, we have to recognize this defective behavior, because they have been sliding under the rug for many years. And as a matter of fact, for the same reason is why so many of the key leaders was taken down, are destroyed, or their movement was totally destroyed, even if they meant well, because you had folks that you would allow simply because they were of the same community and share the same history and ancestors as you. But many times, these people are the most wicked, most destructive people that you can ever deal with. They hate you. They want to destroy you. They don't care about your kids. They don't care about your parents. They don't care about you. And they call themselves your friends. Okay? So we have to look at these behaviors, and this is what's happening in this movie. So let us jump right into this movie. It's called You People. It's called You People. So first, let's talk about the cast a bit. Here are the cast of the movie, the key cast, most of them. The writer for the movie is Kenya Barris and Jonah Hill on the top row. I want to talk about, in order for, so that I don't spend too much time on this, I'm going to get straight to the people who I feel maybe doing some defective stuff. Because a lot of time it's not the folks who we blame, it's our own. They are on autopilot. And because they have made certain decision in their life, they want more people to make that decision as well and to be more like them. Okay? So they can't just walk away and let things be. They have to come back and burn down the camp. All right, so Kenya Barris He's known for the movie Blackish. He also had a series that came out recently named Black AF. Black AF. And I think he only did one. He was only able to do um, one of his series, and then after that, it got canceled. So that show did not make it anywhere. Kenya Barris, he got divorced in 2019 20. He has 6 children. He was with a biracial woman, which I'm not. I'm saying that because he pointed that out and he made it clear how proud he is of that. And he's been accused of promoting or forcing interracial relationship, biracial kids, and LGBT situations down the throat of the black community. Recently, since this movie came out, you people, he was on Sway in the Morning, and he was asked about that, if he had a fetish with this interracial relationship stuff, and he straight up said, yes, I really do. He said the word really do, have a fetish for it. Okay, so we have to understand the people who love themselves and their ancestry and want to maintain some type of respect for them and keep that. He wants to burn that down. He's not fine with simply going and living his life. He is coming back and trying to push this in the minds of black and white kids throughout the globe, I would say, because Hollywood is a major thing. And again, I don't know who's more dangerous, if it's the black Republicans or if it's the black Democrats, those extreme ones. I don't know who is more dangerous. They are both very destructive. And what they don't realize is that they both run away from the camp. They both run away from the responsibility and decide to join hands with others and neglect their own. And they're telling their own, hey, you need to neglect building as well and come and just join us. And many have, but the complaints continue. The Asians did not neglect theirs. The Europeans did not neglect theirs, and they do not tell each other to neglect theirs. But we have these defective-minded individuals who is on autopilot, and there's no one to blame outside of them. They are just out to destroy things, everything. And they look at anything that goes against that as their enemy. And we should also look at it the same way. Because they share the same history, because they're from the same community, that don't mean we should treat them or let them into everything. There need to be some real purging. There need to be some real accountability. There need to be some security for the youths. Okay, there's no reason why this much years later, every single child in our community have to rely, every man, woman, and child rely on other people, our community, for everything. We don't lend, we borrow. And I'm not talking about individual. For the selfish-minded people who keep running back to individual. You ask them what's your purpose is in life, and they say, so make sure my kids are good, and so forth and so forth. It's like very short-sighted. And that is why I see people like Black Stalin, who I respect very well, who sing the song about the Caribbean man and say what our purpose is. We should try to build a better future for the man and the woman. But sadly, the men, in many cases, cannot unite. They are giving up. We are race competing with each other. We are killing each other. You hear of all the murders and stuff that's happening in the Caribbean and globally. Chicago. All right. But anyway, let's get into this movie. All right. So that's Kenny Barris. He's about destructive behavior, bringing down the black community, bringing down the white community. He don't care. He just want to destroy, burn everything down. And I think it's more so to destroy the black community because those are the ones. That's why everything he have, every show he create, have something to do with blackness. But at the same time, he inject his poison into it. Okay. All right. So we also have Eddie Murphy here in the movie. Eddie Murphy, his name in the movie is Akbar. He's a Muslim in the movie. He's very pro-black in the movie. Very pro-black in the movie. Right? And Eddie Murphy, as we know, is have a fetish for non-black women. He have a fetish for non-black women. We have Jonah Hill, very funny, just like Eddie Murphy, very funny. The first movie I saw with him was Super Bad. I don't think I ever laughed that much. Very funny. He's not married. He doesn't have any children. I think Eddie Murphy have 9 children. And 5 wives or baby mom. I'm not sure. But Jonah, no children. Is not married, but he's in a relationship with a Caucasian lady. Lauren London in this movie is Amira. Jonah is Ezra. Amira. These are the two who got together, right? She was in a relationship with Nipsey Hussle. Okay, may he rest in peace. And then you have Julia Lewis, who is Shelley. She's the mother of Jonah. They are the Jewish family, by the way. She's been married since 1987, and she's married to a Caucasian man. He's also a director, a producer as well. And she's a comedian. And she's a very good actress. She did very good in this movie, actually. I think, yeah, it did very good. Jonah always do a good job in this movie. Eddie Murphy, you know, Eddie Murphy's Eddie Murphy. Nia Long was in a relationship recently with a brother from Nigeria, and I think they broke up due to some type of cheating situation. I'm not sure, but from what I understand, the brother had a relationship with the wife of one of the managers, and so they broke up. You know, which sad. You know, Nia Long first knew her from the movie Boys in the Hood. Everyone had a crush on Nia Long. And then you have we talked about Kenya Barris, who was accused of. Yeah, there was some people on Twitter just hitting him hard, saying that he's ramming this stuff down our throat every time. Right, Kenya Barris. Anyway, David is Arnold. David is Arnold in the movie. He's the husband of Shelley, and they are the parents of Ezra and Lizra, who is on the far right, on the top far right. And in real life, David, I don't think he's married. He's like 69 years old. His girlfriend is with a Caucasian female. She's 29 years old. Lizra, I don't know much about her dating situation. In the movie, however, she was acting as a LGBTQ. And yeah, we'll talk about that more. At the bottom left, you have Taco or Omar in real life. His girlfriend is a Caucasian woman. He's also in an interracial relationship as well. And then Mo, right next to him, Omar is the brother of Amira. I'm not sure if I said that yet. And Mo is the best friend of Jonah. They both work on the Easy Show, the podcast in the movie. And Mo is of the LGBT community in real life. And she have a spouse. Mike Epps is in the movie. Real life, he's married to beautiful sister, and I think they got a baby not too long ago. Congratulations to him. And next to him, you have Rhea Bobby. She was the grandparent of Ezra. Right? That's just some of the cast. Let's get right into the movie itself, the scenes. So the movie kicked off. The movie kicked off with Ezra and Mo talking about a lot of liberal stuff. They start talking about Obama, him smoking cigarette, Newport cigarette, the favorite cigarette of crackheads worldwide. They were praising Obama, really. They were gloating over Obama and stuff. They were talking about BLM. As you can see, this movie is, like I said, a very left wing leaning movie. They talk about the ICE challenge. They talk about LeBron James and the cops and all this different stuff in the movie. But the show started talking, basically laying the ground, right off the bat that, hey, we are left wingers, big time, right? So after this introduction or scenery, um, it transferred over to being in the synagogue, right? In the synagogue, it was Ezra and his family were in the synagogue, and Ezra was basically an outcast, the black sheep as they call it, right? He was wearing Nike shoes. Again, Mo is like his coach. Mo teach him how to be hip and how to navigate the urban community, right? So he's there, and they make it as if like the first thing you saw when you zoom in the synagogue was his shoes. He was wearing these Nike shoes with the blue check mark. He had his tattoos exposed, and he was not wearing his yarmulke. He was the only one not wearing it. His sister pointed out, and his mom got on him, and they had a little back and forth with him, his grandparents, his sister, and so forth while in service. Directly after service, some of the older Jews, the elders, came up to him, and they were speaking a bit vulgar. They were asking him about his sexual relationship in a not so nice way, and one of them even asked him to show him his private part, and he keep asking over and over, right? Right after that, his mom came up to him. He told his mom about it, and she was almost as if she was defending the guy. She said, people are innocent until proven guilty, right? From there, his mom tried to talk him into getting with a Jewish girl. This Jewish girl right here, mom described her as a well put together female. She's educated, intelligent, beautiful, and all the type of good stuff. So they went out on a date in this Italian restaurant, and they just could not see eye to eye. It did not work out. Her and Jonah was on two different pages, and shortly after that, Jonah went and he basically vented to Mo, as he did throughout this movie, and he told Mo that I cannot find the right person for me, right? Yeah, so right after that dinner date or that lunch, he went to Mo and told him about the situation. And Mo basically told him, dude, you need to apply the certified lover boy tactic. You need to become a certified lover boy, a CLB. Mo said, you are acting like the younger Drake with no beard and a thick upper lip, right? You need to be more like the Drake with the beard. She said, you're acting like the Drake who was crying over strippers and stuff like that. So she's giving him game, and she also encouraged him to lie in many cases when he met Amira, as you will see when you see the movie. All right. So this is her lecturing Ezra. Right after this scene, the movie went over to Amira, right? Amira, and the first thing you saw with Amira was the same type of shoes that Jonah or Ezra was wearing in the synagogue. She was wearing the same type of shoes, right? I guess that's the way to, start having you connected together. And in the image in the upper right corner, I couldn't help but realize that she was wearing an ankh. And those of you who know what an ankh is, you can find it in Kemet or Egypt hieroglyphics. The ankh has to do with life, the female reproduction, and a lot of things. Right? She's wearing that. And remember, her father, Akbar, is a devout Muslim. He is very pro-black, and her father is trying to help Chris right here to get with his daughter. He's giving him, his father is telling him what to say, and in this scene, Chris approached Amira and asked her, "Hey, did you block me or something?" And Amira said, "No, I didn't block you. I don't do petty stuff like that." So he said, "Did you change your phone number?" And she said, "Yes." Right? But from there, he said something that Amira dad told him to say. And he got Amira to reach out, take his phone, and start to punch her new number into his phone. And she saw the message and she said, "Look, this person is my dad's favorite person." I don't remember who she was talking about. But basically, he got caught. My dad told you what to say. He was not making any grounds with Amira because Amira felt like he was fake, and he was simply saying what he needed to say in order to get her attention, and she didn't like that. Right after the scene, Amira hopped in her car and she was heading to work. Again, she's wearing an ankh in this image. On her way to work, her GPS started acting up. She ended up in front of the building where Jonah worked at. Jonah came out. He ordered a Uber, and the Uber that he had coming to pick him up, the driver looked exactly like Amira and were driving the same car. So he jumped in Amira's car thinking that it was his Uber car, and that is when Amira went off on him. Right here in this scene. And in this image, Amira is wearing Nefertiti on her chest. So somewhere in the drive, she took off the ankh. And Nefertiti has to do with feminine energy, good luck, beauty, and all that type of good stuff. Is another one of those image out of Kemet or Egypt. Right, so she went off. She said, "Hey, get on my car." She called him racist. She said, "The reason you got into my car is because you saw a black woman in an inexpensive car, so you assume that I am your driver." I could see why she would kind of say that, But again, it's the movie. They went overboard. I don't think anyone would simply, well, then again, don't say that. Some people would go off and folks for jumping in their car, right? Like she did. All right. But anyway, long story short, he did not get out of the car. Surprisingly, he sat there and he said, "Hey, you look just like my Uber driver." And he showed her an image of the Uber driver, and he was right. So they exchanged name, and I assume she gave him a ride to where he wanted to go. And from this scene, they started dating. They went on multiple dates and get to know each other and so forth. And then Ezra ended up telling Mo about it. Mo was ecstatic. Mo was like, "Hey, you got a real one? You got a real one?" She was like talking about it and basically giving him advice on what he needs to do. And she also told her brother about it, as you will see in one of these later images. So right here, her and her brother sat down to get a smoothie or coffee, and this is where she told her brother that she met this guy. He's not black, and you can see the look on his brother's face. His brother was like, "Oh, I don't know. How are you going to tell dad this?" And she's back to wearing the ankh again on her chest. And if you see below the table, she's wearing a thick bracelet. It also has an ankh in it. All right. So he told her, "Hey, this is crazy. You're going to have to tell dad about it because, again, dad is very pro-black." And this is Akbar, their father, walking in to the same coffee place or smoothie spot, and he's wearing a shirt that says Fred Hampton was murdered. And if you don't know Fred Hampton, he was a leader of the Black Panther movement, and he was basically killed, right, by the cops. So he's wearing this, And in a sense, some people, like I said, see this as just comedy. But personally, I see this as borderline disrespectful, right? Why do you have to include these things? Especially when you have a writer that say he has a fetish for basically watering down the black community, you know? And this is not an attack on Eddie Murphy. Though I know he's not about black women, he's more about non-black women, right? But to partake in this type of situation without pushing back and say, hey, this man is dead. Let's leave him alone. Leave him out of this. Why are we going to put him in a movie like this that is supposed to be comical, it's supposed to be political, and push, and it's also supposed to push an agenda, which is what politics do, right? But anyway, Eddie Murphy sat down and he started right off the bat, started talking his pro-black stuff, talking about how everyone, once upon a time, this place was a place where black people was, dark people like him. Everyone seemed to get looser and looser as the time go by. He said soon everyone will look like Bruno Mars, and his son said sooner than you think, right? To kind of basically dry snitch on his sister, to put her on the spot so that she can tell their father what she have going on. So Akbar pushed back at him and said, "What are you talking about?" And he told his sister, "Hey, what's up?" And Akbar said, "Oh, you seeing someone? Is it Chris?" And she said, "No, it's not Chris." He said, "Is he Muslim at least?" And Amira said, "Yes, he's Muslim. He's African, actually, and of the Sunni, and so forth," which she was lying, right? Anyway, they end up getting to a point where when she sip on her drink, she talk about it being bee wax, some crazy stuff like that, and he pushed back on her and said, "Oh, so they're taking everything from us, they're taking everything from us," and the two siblings started defending the they that he was referring to, and the daughter first said, "Well, we should be happy that they are patronizing our business." And that is when Akbar pushed back and said, "At what cost, though?" And the son ended up saying, "Financial freedom, cultural empowerment, and market expansion." And the father said, "You're going to get punched in your mouth," right? So that's how that scene went. From here, so after them dating for about 6 months or so, Ezra decided to tell Mo that, "Hey, I'm going to engage to her. I'm going to ask her to marry me." And Mo said, "Have you met the parents yet?" And he said, "No." And she was like, "You lost your mind, basically. You got to meet the parents. You have to ask the parents now." So she's telling him exactly what to do. And again, there are things in this movie where his persona, the way he presents himself, everything, if he was not a Caucasian, a black woman would not accept that. But just like in real life, he gets certain passes, right? But anyway, long story short, he ended up asking the family out. He took them out to dinner. He took them to Roscoe's Chicken. All right. So here's an image with him, with the father of Amira and the mother, right? And they're confronting him, challenging him, and he started talking about how he wanted to marry their daughter, and he would basically give them biracial kids one day. Biracial kids are the future. Jesus was biracial. Malcolm X was biracial. He starts saying stuff like this. And while they were waiting for the waiter and things continued to get uncomfortable, Ezra got up and went to look for the waiter. And while he left, Eddie Murphy started basically picking on his wife, saying, "This is because of your great granddad, your great white granddad, whose, I guess, evil spirit came back and is in your daughter," and so forth. So he was basically picking on her a bit. All right. But at the end of this, the outcome of this is that Akbar did not agree with him getting with his daughter. He said, basically, good luck, but over my dead body. It's not going to happen, which eventually he softened up. In this image, this is when Ezra took Amira to meet her parents, right? And they were ecstatic to meet her. They were excited about having a black girl in the family. They started fascinating about biracial kids and stuff like that. This is the Jonas, Ezra's sister. She's actually not in this particular image. I just place her there so you can see who she is. But while the family, the father, mother, Amira, and Ezra was sitting on the couch, Lizra came downstairs. And when she saw Amira, she started acting as if she had some type of butterflies in her stomach. She started basically blushing. And her mother told her that this person is already taken for. And she went on to mention that Lizra is LGBTQ and that she's very direct, because when she came downstairs, she told her dad, the first thing she said was, "Dad, you missed an opportunity to benefit from a gentrification business, where you could have taken some houses from people, and this basically is supposed to be a joke. Okay, and to many people it is, I'm pretty sure, right? But that's how this scene went. Anyway, they sat down, and the family, the parents, keep agreeing with everything about Amira. They try to amuse her by saying that they are into certain things that is supposed to be well known in the black community. She even brought up the cops, saying that the cops are ridiculous. Start saying that everyone should kneel and stuff like that when the national anthem is playing. And like I said, they went over the board a lot, and that's why I realized that some folks, on the far right wing, who are in interracial relationship, was offended by this movie. I see some that was offended by this movie, and so forth. And I kind of understand why they are, But anyway, as they continue to blow smoke on Amira, right, Ezra stepped in and he ended up taking his mom in the back. She said she sewed and all type of stuff, which he did not know his mom sewed. And he started to lecture her and say, "You are doing too much. When have you ever been against the cops and stuff like that?" And she said, "We always been. I talk about it with my friends." And he keep challenging her, like, which friends and when? When they went back in the living room, the father was playing the piano. He was playing an R&B song to Amira, a song by John Legend, and the name of the song is Ordinary People, right? And throughout the movie, it's nothing but hip-hop and R&B that they were playing throughout the movie. So they were really sucking up to Amira. So this movie is in a way pushing BLM. You see, you have some images of brothers who were killed by cops or in some type of violent activity. See George Floyd there, and the Black Lives Matter came about from his murder. And they ended up also, let's go here. They went shopping, and they ended up buying matching shoes and all that good stuff. Okay. Later, this is a scene that caught my attention, and you see how they continue to take figures, black figures or black American figures, and put them in the scenes. They did not do the same for the Jews, right? And I feel that some of the jokes that were made earlier at the synagogue was basically to prepare us or prepare the audience for this, to say, look, we are picking on each other over here. But So you should, kind of prepare you so that you don't get upset when all this thing is happening. Directly after this scene, they went into bed with each other. And if you realize, I've done this. If you Google businesses, diverse businesses, in every image you see, just about every image, I would say 99%, and I've done it. And I was going to actually present some images, my last the last live that I did, but I didn't. In every image you see where there are black folks, or black American folks, or black folks in general, they're never together. The man and the woman is never together. They always have them. There's always someone in the middle of them. That's always the case. And I would challenge any of you to Google it, look it up, and you will see. Okay. And of course, many people would find excuses as to why it happened. And I get it. They're trying to exercise diversity or whatever the case is. But this thing about the black man and the black woman being on separate sides and so forth, many times don't even want to look at each other. It plays into the whole, what do you call it, gender war that's happening between the black community. It is not so much the case in any other community. So right after this, all right, so this is dinner scene. This is like the big scene of the whole movie. You hear them talk about it because this is when the entire family met each other. They met each other and they had some friction there. Started off from the time they started praying, started talking about slavery and the Jewish Holocaust, which one was worse and so forth. And honestly, I've seen this in real life where a Caucasian person and a black person talking about the Holocaust and slavery, right? Where the Caucasian person would say slavery is a long time ago and it wasn't treated too bad. You were treated good, really, and the Holocaust was severe. And then the black person will push back and say that, well, when your entire identity, your entire memory banks is erased, it's harder to recover from such a thing, versus, and I've kind of used this as an example before, versus when you have, let's say, 100 people who still maintain some form of identity and history. But there was some back and forth there, some tension there with those guys. I tried to stay out of it. Because they're a waste of time. People are going to believe what they want to believe. You're not going to convince anyone otherwise. There's no need to try to convince those who don't want to be convinced. You can say what you say, but after that, move on. Right? Okay, so basically, after the whole scene, after the dinner scene, Ezra was supposed to have his bachelor party, and Akbar went to the bachelor party. Him and I think his brother, Mike Epps, in the movie, went to the party, and their plan was to disrupt whatever fun Ezra would be having at the party. Akbar ended up learning a lot about Ezra during a moment. He learned that Ezra was into crack cocaine and in a major way and so forth. And after that, I know Ezra and Amira end up cutting ties. They cut ties for a while. They ended up running into each other again, and they got back together, and then they end up marrying. And that's the story. But at the end of the day, with this whole movie, there's an agenda. There's an agenda, and I don't know why they feel the need to push this agenda so much, but we need to be aware of it. People need to be aware of it. The children need to be aware of it, and we should not send our children out into this dangerous world with a loose sense of identity. So with that, be safe.